And we are in Mount Pleasant at a Firestone right now. We've caught up with 1st Congressional District Republican candidate Mark Sanford and former governor of the state. Thank you so much for our time. We are at a small business here. Talk to me a little bit, and I know this came up in the debate last week, what you plan to do for job growth.
Well, I think that if you look at the underlying soil conditions for a business, whether it's large, mid-size, or small, I think that there are certain basic ingredients in terms of not too much in the way of tax load, not too much in the way of regulatory load, stable business climate. And so I think that if you look back at my track record, really over almost 20 years, certainly 8 years in the governorship, what we pushed for were bettering the underlying soil conditions for a business so that we were more inviting for private capital, and we saw more actual private investment in our state during my 8 years of the governorship than during any other in South Carolina history. $24 billion of cumulative investment, and that includes Boeing investment, which was the largest single investment in South Carolina's history. So I think it means making a more inviting playing field. That means, for instance, it mattered that we passed the largest recurring tax cut in South Carolina history. We passed the first of its kind in the way of marginal income tax reform. We passed first of its kind, tort reform, workers' comp reform, charter school reform. I might go down a litany of different things, but what I'd say is there is no single silver bullet, but the idea of limited and predictable government we have found to be very, very important here in South Carolina.
Okay, another subject that is gaining a lot of attention, and it also came up during your debate, is gun control. And you mentioned a problem with prosecution with this, but what can you do immediately, maybe, to make people and citizens safer?
Well, I think that, again, there aren't silver bullets. I mean, we all look for silver bullets in this. I think that part of it is tied to prosecution, as I said before. That, if you want to talk about safety, you need to begin by enforcing laws that are on the book. It's telling that, you got 80,000 different folks that fail background checks, and you got 40 people being prosecuted. To me, that doesn't make common sense. So I would say you got to begin with existing laws on the book, and I think that you need to be careful about any time that you step in to infringe upon a constitutionally guaranteed right.
Okay, and real quickly, I know you faced your own scandal when you were governor of this state. One question a lot of people are wondering is, how are you going to earn back trust of the voters?
Well, I mean, I think that's already happened. I mean, I don't think you'd win the Republican nomination if that hadn't happened. I mean, I don't think I would have gone through a 16-person primary and then a runoff after that, 2 election cycles if that hadn't happened.
All right. Thank you so much, former Governor Mark Sanford, for your time. We appreciate it. And Republican nominee in the 1st Congressional District, reporting in Mount Pleasant, I'm Kate Gaier.